Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unleashing Potentials podcast. Today's special guest is Mr. E. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing
I'm good. I'm good. Can you tell us the name behind your name? Is that your actual name? Because I love it.
today? So my actual name is Josh. I go by Myster E because that is something that I kind of developed as a stage name because I do motivational, inspirational content, but I also do magic. So as a magician, that was something that I kind of was coming up with, and my last name actually starts with an E. So I
Yeah.
was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna use this and incorporate that into my stage name so that I can use that as a point of sale so people realize, oh, he does magic as well as motivating people and inspiring others to be their very best.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's real. I love it. Like I said, can you tell us who you are and what you do? You just did, but you can take us into just a bit more detail on your story.
So I am a magician and an entertainer, but on top of that, I am a motivational speaker. So I really like to get out there and tell other, have them go after their dreams. My goal in life is to let others know that they can accomplish anything. Years ago, when I was younger, probably about 12 or 13, I was in a car accident. I actually lost sight in my right eye. I can no longer see peripheral vision out of that eye for the rest of my life.
Mm.
And going through the trials and tribulations with that, I like to inspire others and let them know like you can go after your dreams and do whatever you want in life, no matter what hits you. Before I kind of took a leap of faith and started doing this full time, I was doing deliveries and stuff like that. And I was told by several people, you'll never get a driver's license, you'll never be able to drive a box truck, all kinds of stuff like that. And I've been nothing but the epitome of prove them wrong. I have gone and I was delivering for probably a good 10, 15 years in box trucks. I got my driver's license after all the car accident and everything happened. So, even though people tell you you can't do something, I believe that as long as you have a mission in life, you absolutely can go out there and do it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that. I love that. Can you take us back to your childhood? What was it like?
So I didn't have a bad childhood by any means. My family kind of, the average suburban lifestyle. My mom and dad both worked. For a good portion of my life, we lived in apartments until my one of our apartments actually burned down. And
Mhm.
that's another thing that I like to incorporate in one of my stories as well is that my family grew up in apartments, and then my family actually had a point in my life when I was super young, so I don't really remember a ton of stuff from it, but we actually were in an apartment fire where the apartment completely burst into flames and there was nothing left. So I'd like to believe that even if you could start with absolutely nothing, and no matter what you have in life, you can achieve your dreams as long as you keep going and keep working towards it. My family had to build from that moment on to the rest of their lives to be able to be where we are today. And
Mhm.
I don't think I would be the person I am today without my family going through some of the things that we had to go through as a child.
Mhm.
And then we rented a house, and my family, my parents didn't actually even buy their first house until I was probably about 16 or 17. And then my wife and I actually have the opportunity. We actually bought our first house when I was fairly young. We were actually in our 20s when we got to buying our first house. And those type of tribulations and things develop because of who we are as people and because of how much we've gone through in the past. And we kind of learned, how to get over those things and those hurdles. So I didn't have a terrible childhood by any means, but you just never know what somebody's life is like. And it's incredible to me to hear other people's stories of how they lived, and especially when people come from absolutely nothing and achieve what they achieve today, because I've seen people who have lived a life of greatness and I've seen people who have lived a life of, oh my goodness, how did you come out of that? But it's all about pursuing what you love and what you want to do
Mhm.
and to continue to develop from that.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that. And I'm from nothing. Right, coming from a poor third world country, and it's rough. But like you, I have appreciation for so many things and for life and for purpose and passion for helping people. And our stories are our own, and they're worth being heard. And that's why I'm so excited to have you today to share your story. Um,
I absolutely
yeah,
agree. There's so
yeah,
much that some people just don't know, and you just it's one of those things, and I've told myself this several times, is that you don't know who you're gonna help. So, it could be that one video, it could be that one time you step on stage, and you could be in front of hundreds of people, but you're helping one specific person in that audience because they don't realize that you had to go through that too.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. How old were you when you went through the car accident again?
I was about 12 or 13.
Ooh, you're so young. My goodness. Did you gradually lost your sight or right away? That was so young to go through that much.
It happened immediately. So the car accident, I'm an Eagle Scout, so I was actually on staff at scout camp with a friend.
Mhm,
And the story starts where my parents didn't want me to come home, but we were had the ability to come home on weekends if we wanted to. Um, and they weren't gonna come and get me, but being the child I was like, you know what, I really do want to come home. I want to see my family that weekend. So I had a friend that had his license at the time, and he offered to bring me home. So I was sitting in the passenger seat. As far as I know, there was complications with the car. I was asleep, and the car flipped end over end, faced the opposite direction on the highway, and my eye had hit the airbag.
mhm,
And because of the way that it hit, the debris from the airbag hit the back of my retina to the point where I started off as a black eye. I couldn't see at that point, so I was confused. I had no idea what was going on. And what really struck me is not the fact that I lost the sight, but I went from having 20/20 vision to that change in my life where it immediately happened as soon as I was in the hospital
yeah,
and everything was healed. I could not see out of that eye. So it to me, it was a change, but I was so young that I don't remember not being able to see out of that eye
yeah,
or being able to see out of that eye. So it's not like
mhm,
it's not a good thing that it happened at a young age, but it kind of is in a way
yeah,
because now it would have been a completely different story where I remember so much of my life before that.
mhm, mhm,
So it was kind of a blessing in disguise that it happened at a young age. Not
mhm,
that I wish it would have happened at all,
mm,
but it, I don't remember a lot of 20/20 vision days, like, and my other eye is still perfectly fine. So it really did help to develop that and understand, like, oh, okay, so you just kind of have to use that other eye's vision more.
yeah, yeah,
It is kind of strange, and especially when I explain it to some people, because like if I'm looking dead on at somebody and I close my left eye, I can't see them unless they start moving their hand on the other side. And so to them, it's like, what do you mean? How does that work? What happens?
mhm,
Um, so yeah, it was kind of an interesting thing that kind of happened, and it actually was kind of one of those things that was quite interesting for my wife to understand
mhm,
because we actually got like I go to the eye doctor probably more often than most people now
yeah,
because they want to make sure everything is okay and everything. And my wife and I ended up getting to see on their technology, they have the ability to zoom in and see a lot. So she actually got to see kind of if you zoom in on it, where it kind of spider webs almost in a way, and
mm,
you can kind of see the black spot of where it had hit and the debris and how it spread to be able to have that loss of vision.
oh. I'm sorry to hear that, but it sounded like you healed from it and you're thriving and helping people.
Absolutely. That's kind of how you kind of have to live your life is continue to live and move on. I've seen people all over that have things that happen and you just kind of move on from them.
Yeah,
Am I happy that it happened? I can't say yes or no because it makes me who I am today.
mm,
So am I disappointed? Absolutely not, because it's my story and it continues to develop as who I am today because of these
mhm,
things. Um, I know I kind of mentioned a snippet of it as well. It actually was one of those things that kind of helped me along my path of becoming an Eagle Scout because it got me to understand different aspects of leadership and things like that to be like, hey, it doesn't always have to be a problem when you can turn it into something else that helps somebody else.
Yeah, yeah. What was your teen years like, you know, going through school, and what were some of the challenges that you had to overcome?
Just kind of the little, the normal, everyday, normal things. I was your average teen, but I also didn't drive at the time.
Mm,
So I didn't get my license until I was about 18. So when
mm,
I was in after school events and stuff like that, it was kind of a challenge sometimes because you had to find rides home and figure out stuff. And making new friends is always the thing that people are like, "Oh, how do you do that? How do you do that?" And it's hard as an adult. I would say it's a lot harder than it is as a youth because in a
mm,
youth setting, you're in school all the time, right?
yeah,
So you're always talking to new people. You're always like, "Hey, what's going on with you?" Stuff like that. And then as an adult, you're living your life. So as a teenager, I wouldn't say that I had a terrible life by any means. I absolutely love theater, and that's part of what brought me into magic is because I was in theater throughout all of high school, and it's just something I absolutely love. But challenge wise, it's just that overcoming little things. When I was in scouting, we learned about how to shoot guns and stuff like that. And because I'm right handed and it is my right eye, I had to go over those challenges of okay, how do you transition to either shoot left handed or aim with your left eye as you're shooting with your right hand? And it's those little things that you kind of work through and figure out. But other than that, I didn't really have too many crazy challenges as a teenager, which is kind of a blessing because I had an absolutely amazing mother and father that raised me. And although there are some challenges that happen with divorce and things along those lines, I
mhm,
never had to experience much of that until I got older.
yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing. Let's talk a bit more about your mental wellness, how you manage over the years, even as an adult. What did you use to cope and to process?
So it's hard to say because there's been days where, you just kind of sit back and you're like, oh my goodness, how am I going to get through this? Right. And we all have those days. Everybody has those challenging days, but I lean a lot on my friends and family. I have a lot of friends that are there to support me and that really do love who I am as a person and really do want to see me successful.
Mhm,
A lot of my friends have been there during times when it's like, oh my goodness, what am I doing today? And a lot of my family was always there for me as well. One of the biggest things I will say is if you have one person in your life, make sure that's the one person that you absolutely can tell everything to. My wife has been my rock since, we met back in 2012, and that's one of the things that I've been able to talk to her about a lot of different things.
mhm,
Obviously, there's always going to be challenges in life, and I'm young, so there's still definitely time where there's stuff that I don't even want to talk about, but we still kind of sit down and talk about it as
mhm,
much as we can.
mhm,
So I will say, like, as a mental challenge, sometimes you just got to open up and be open to talking to the right people. Another option that I do see a lot of people gravitating towards, which I'm really blessed to see that is out there now,
mhm.
is in counselors there's a place called BetterHelp, which is an absolutely amazing thing. And it's not a sponsor, so I don't really want to talk much about it,
Yeah,
but
yeah, no
it
worries.
is definitely a fantastic thing to look into if anybody is looking for some sort of counselorship because they offer the ability to talk without having to do it with the way they want you to talk to them. You
Mhm,
don't necessarily have to go in person. You can do it through text, video call, anything that works for you. In
mhm.
which case, I think that's a great avenue to look towards
Yeah,
if it's something you're absolutely in need of.
yeah, yeah. What are your thoughts on mindset?
I think mindset is key for a lot of things, and in order to achieve your goals, you kind of have to look at them as goals and not dreams. Everybody has a dream and everybody wants to get somewhere, but are you going to wake up and go after your dreams, or are you going to sit there and sleep in your dreams? My goal is that I want to help other people, and in order to do that, I have to go out there and go after my dreams. So
Mhm,
I definitely think that mindset is key.
mhm,
We can't live in a mindset where you're sitting there struggling all the time and stressed, because that's only going to hurt your overall goals and your things. I think that mindset is something we have to look at and look into when we want to go after things, and definitely look into different ways of helping yourself through those mindsets.
yeah,
A mindset is something that everybody has struggles with sometimes. We all have those people that unfortunately we think are friends then turn out to not be, but we always kind of have to get over that and keep moving forward.
yeah,
The only person that's going to be able to go after their dreams is yourself, right? Nobody else is going to know what your goal is. Nobody else is going to know what's in your mind. So you kind of have to control that mindset and continue to live the way you want to live by going after your dreams and living in that mindset. I think mindset is a huge, huge part of making sure that we are successful.
yeah, yeah. How do you think fear of failure can impact how we think and dream?
I think fear is a huge thing on us because we just never sometimes can't get over the fact of things that happen, right? And then we fear all kinds of things. We have people that fear stages. We have people that fear what other people think, and
Mhm,
it's one of the things that I try to look at things as an anagram. So,
mhm,
are we going to continue to fear those things, or are we going to fight it off and work on how we're going to continue to go?
mhm,
Um, it's really hard to understand because you're not necessarily that person in their mindset. But that's why I really like to talk to people about how they think and what their thoughts are and what they fear. If you fear getting on stages, there's ways to get over that. There's definitely ways to talk to people to get over the fear of failure, get
mhm,
over the fear of, get over the fear of failure, get over the fear of stages, get over the fear of what other people think, because yes, you might fear the fear of failure. And to me, that's one of the things that is key to a lot of people. They fear failure, right?
mhm,
And if you never try, you'll never know. If you never go after your dreams, you'll never know. And do you want to be that 80-year-old that sits there and is worried, oh, why didn't I go after this? Or do you want to be that 80-year-old that gave it a try and was like, maybe it didn't work out, but at least I tried it.
mhm,
So that's one of the biggest things I like to look at when it comes to those type of fears. And then fear of what other people think is just incredibly one of the things that goes along with mindset. I
yeah,
like to tell people, like, you've got to get out of that mindset of what other people think, because there might be that one person that thinks poorly of you, and unfortunately that might be your parents and you need to walk away from them, unfortunately. But then you might be helping somebody that absolutely needed you and needed your story because of what happened in their life. And if you didn't help that person, I don't want to get gruesome, but they could be the reason why you could be the reason why they're here today and here
mhm,
tomorrow or not.
yeah,
Unfortunately, that's just the way it is, and sometimes people need that.
mhm, yeah, I agree. Yeah. So you're a magician. Tell us more.
Yeah.
What are some tricks you can pull off?
So I've done a lot of close up type stuff just to try and get into the development of things, but I also have done stage magic, and I'm starting to incorporate more magic with my motivational aspect of things. So I like to take an effect, look at it, and look at what motivation can go with it, and start to incorporate that as a whole. Because I think it's important to keep people's attention when they're, watching you on stage, but also it's a highly interactive thing where people are like, oh, wow, what's going on? What's happening? So
Yeah.
it's always important to me to have those aspects of things and bring it together. One of the biggest things that I've done is I have made a bowling ball appear out of a paper bag. I
Mhm.
have escaped a straitjacket, and I like to add comedy and incorporate comedy into my routines, because who doesn't like to have fun, right? We all like to have fun and have a personality. So that's one of the biggest things I like to incorporate. My escape from a straitjacket, that routine is actually a comedy routine. So it's kind of fun to be able to incorporate motivational speaking, but then on top of that, also incorporate magic and what I absolutely love.
Mhm.
For instance, with my comedy straitjacket routine, I've kind of thought about it and I'm like, everybody in life is tied up at one point, right? We always are stressed and tied up, but as long as we continue to fight and get out of it, we're good to go and continue on in life. And that's one of the things where I bring that to light and then I escape the straitjacket. And that's another part of the routine where it's like, okay, see, now I'm shedding that off. And then we're able to continue on in life.
Wow, that's awesome. I've watched a few of magician acts on America's Got Talent. A few of them I couldn't look. I had to close my eyes and I'm
Yeah,
like,
there's some dangerous acts out there.
like I can't. I'm jumping, I'm laughing. I'm like, I told my daughter, tell me what happened. I can't watch. It's just the thrilling and the joy that comes with creativity of it. It's just mind
hmm
blowing. And the craziness of it. Poof. Wow.
Yeah, a lot of what's cool about the magic community on top of that is a lot of them are friends. So as you start to perform more and
Mhm.
start to develop more, you kind of meet new people. One of the people I actually got an opportunity to go to the National Jamboree for Scouting in 2010, and I got to meet Matt King. He's a performer in Las Vegas, and he does magic shows nightly at I think it's at the Rio, but he does shows all the time, and I got to meet him and get his book and everything, and
Wow.
we kind of so it's really cool when you start to develop more and get into it. You kind of meet new people, but then you also have friends that are into it, so you're like, oh, we're all a community, and you continue to grow and develop.
Yeah. What are some of the many common myths that you've heard of or know about when it comes to magicians?
We all wear straight, or we all have a suit and tie, which isn't necessarily true. We don't live in that era anymore where
Yeah.
people are always wearing a suit and tie to all their shows and everything.
Hmm.
Another huge common myth is that we all wear a top hat and we all have rabbits. No, we don't all carry a top hat. We don't all have rabbits anymore. We don't live in eras where things are like that. And that's another thing that I really do like to incorporate with my magic is I like to take things that you would see in an ordinary house,
Yeah.
like my house and your ordinary house, and be able to turn it into a routine where people are like, where did that come from? Like, how did he
Yeah.
turn that into this? And that's a huge myth that everybody's wearing a suit and tie. No, we're not. We're just like your normal people. Yes, we like to dress up and have a good time and have a good show, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're all gonna always wear a dress suit and tie and all these other fancy things.
Mhm.
Now, the Magic Castle in California is completely different.
Mhm.
Obviously, they have a dress code and stuff because they're working on keeping the tradition alive. So that's one of the things that isn't known necessarily in the Magic and outside of the Magic community is that the Magic Castle is dress code.
Mhm.
But that is a common myth that we all have suits and ties and we all have
Yeah.
top hats and rabbits because that's not necessarily true. I don't even like to work with animals because I like to keep that outside of the stage acts of things. I've seen several acts like people who get hurt and stuff with tigers, and I wouldn't want to get involved with it. I
Yeah.
don't want to go through the legal actions of getting involved with it. So,
Yeah.
but that is another thing is a lot of people feel that magicians, all of them have a straitjacket, and although most of us do have some sort of routine with a straitjacket, it's not
Mhm.
necessarily true. There's
Mhm.
definitely several different routines and different things where magic is always subjective, and you
Mhm.
can always kind of switch things up. And some people don't even know what a routine is with a straitjacket because they don't have one.
Mhm.
Another thing that a lot of people don't realize is that magic isn't necessarily always a stage show.
Mhm.
So there's several people who have shows and stuff, which is great. And I absolutely love stage magic. That's one of my, things I love to bring forth. That's why I like to incorporate it with my motivational speaking.
Mhm.
But there are several magicians out there that do restaurant work and stuff close up where it's a different experience. And I think that's really cool that a lot of people don't know that's out there, because then you go to a restaurant and you're like, there's a magician here? That's cool. So it's
Yeah.
definitely something that I like to incorporate as well, and let
Mhm.
others know, like, hey, it's everywhere. You just never know. You just gotta look for it.
Yeah. How would you define the term or word magician to someone who doesn't know what it means?
I like to use expect the unexpected.
Mhm.
So you never know what could happen. You
Yeah.
never know what anything is gonna do. And they could take an average pen, for instance, and make it levitate, and you have no idea how it's happening. So I like to use the term expect the unexpected, because you just never know what to expect.
Mhm. Yeah. Do you move stuff with your mind, or I don't know if that's a form of magic or
It is, and I have done some stuff with it, but I haven't really developed too much with it. I
mm,
know a lot of people who do, and that's
mhm,
something that's all they do is
yeah,
mentalism and those
yeah,
type of effects.
yeah,
I've looked into some mentalism type stuff, and that's
mm,
something I'm interested in, and it's always something I'll be interested in. I
yeah.
just don't know that I would fully incorporate it, only because of there's people out there that do it very well, and I don't know that I
Yeah.
would be able to. Not that I wouldn't be able to compete, but I don't know that it's my forte. If that makes
Mhm.
sense.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
there's
that's
always, different categories, just like there's different categories of speakers. There's your speakers that would prefer to speak to businesses versus your speakers that would prefer to speak to
mhm,
youth. And
mhm.
I don't know that I would ever want to get deep into the mentalism stuff. Now, do I have mentalism type routines? Absolutely. And I have some of that stuff in my acts. But would I fully commit to a whole show of it? Probably not.
Yeah, yeah, it takes people who are too good at that scares me actually. Yeah, because some people are like, I'm like, "What?" I just my mind cannot comprehend what happened or what they do or how they do it. It's just mind blowing. And that's the beauty and playful part of magic.
Oh, absolutely.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah.
So that's one of my biggest goals, is not just to have you walking out with a motivational, inspirational message or messages, but
Mhm,
also to walk around and want to see more, right? So
mhm,
that's the biggest goal, is to get people to coming back, or get people to get others excited to come back. So
yeah,
that's one of the things that, as a magician,
mhm.
that's what we like to see, is people like, huh? How did he do it? You need to go see this. I need to know if you could figure this out, or I need to know if you think the same I'm thinking with this, because this is weird.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, I can see that you have a necklace that's a cross, and you've mentioned God a few times. Tell me who your God is and his power within your life.
So I believe in God. Obviously, most people, other people don't necessarily, but I
Mhm,
feel that anybody has any right to believe in whoever they believe is God to them.
mhm,
To me, God has always been there for me and done a lot of different things in my life. Although I did go through that car accident, I still feel that I'm on a very strong path in life. Like I stated earlier, my wife and I got to get a house at a very young age. And with the grace of God, we've been able to make a lot of different things in our life come true. We have a beautiful son who is about to turn 3 in March. Oh my goodness. And
Fun age.
it's those types of things that I absolutely believe come true because of the word that we put in with God. I don't feel that necessarily everybody
Mhm,
believes in God, and that's absolutely personally up to you. But
mhm,
I truly do, and I think that He does help a lot with different things, and beliefs in our lives.
mhm,
Um, God to me has always been there for me, and always been supportive aspect in my life, and that's why I continue to live that in my life. I like you saw, I do like to wear my cross because it's something that's always reminds me, hey, no matter what you're going through in life, remember, as long as God's by your side, you've always got this. A lot of my friends have been there for me and also believe, but like I said, I don't care what you believe in or don't believe in. That's completely your choice. I don't believe in pushing things on other people by any means. And so I feel like you have every right to make your own choices in life and continue to live that life. I will continue to live the way I choose, and you can continue to live the way you choose, but we could still be absolutely amazing people in life and be absolutely amazing friends if it's what you choose. And I don't feel that anything needs to be pushed on anybody. I also don't necessarily believe that you have to go to church all the time. I grew up my mom was a Lutheran and my grandmother was a Catholic. My grandmother liked us to go to church all the time. My mom didn't necessarily think it was necessary. And I don't feel that you have to go to a building to persuade to somebody that you are there, that they are there for you. I
Yeah.
think that a building is a great place to have, but I don't feel that a church is necessary to commit your life to the Lord.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate it. Yeah, yeah. What would you say to, little kids? They're magical creatures. Let's say they're interested in magic and they just feel discouraged. What would you say to them?
I would say that you never know what your absolutely favorite thing is going to be unless you go out and do it, right?
Mhm.
Just like you didn't know what your favorite food was until you ate it.
Yeah.
I would say go after it and try it and give it your best shot and continue to live that. If you find it's something that is really helping you with communication skills, I would say keep up at it. There's always going to be things that have us in life with struggles and tribulations, and I will be the first to tell you I might not be the best magician in the world, and I'll be the first to tell you that magic is something that is a lot of practice and it can be hard to do at times, especially to sit there and fool people that are watching you very, very closely. You have to remember that these people want to be fooled almost every time, and if they don't want to be fooled, they come because they want to see if they could figure out how you did it.
Yeah.
So I want to just keep up the encouragement to keep going after the things you want to do in life.
Mhm,
Never give up and keep going after it,
mhm,
Um, just like I would tell you if you wanted to be a basketball player, keep playing, keep shooting those hoops, keep doing it, keep practicing and keep going after it and look up to people and ask for help because
yeah.
you never know who that one person you're going to reach out to. It could be me. You could reach out to me as a magician and
Mm,
it could be that one thing that you reach out to them and they're like, "Hey, I can help you get there." And they're
mhm,
going to help you and you could be, just like in basketball when you're shooting hoops in high school and you get a college perspective come in and they're like, "Hey, I want you to come to my college and I'm going to get you to the pros." You
mhm.
just never know.
Yeah, 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 I agree. What is the biggest stages that you've performed on, and how many people?
So I have gotten the opportunity to perform for some bigger companies.
Mhm,
I've performed on a stage. It's not really that it was a lot of people, but it was up in the um, top story of Lambeau Field in like their conference room type area for businesses. And then I've been able to perform for people on social media, and I was live on a social media app called the Clapper app,
mhm,
and they have people from Australia to the UK to all over the United States and Canada.
mhm.
And because of that platform, I am an international magician who has performed for people. Probably over 500 people were in that live room.
Wow, that's awesome. Do you ever get nervous?
Absolutely. I think that always comes with anything you do.
Yeah,
Just like a comedian sits on the side of the stage and goes, "Okay, can you just introduce me already? I'm ready to go and I want to get this done."
yeah.
But you kind of just keep going.
Mhm,
I I get nervous in the sense that, oh no, what if this happens?
Mhm,
But I take it with a grain of salt and I just keep going. I take a deep breath, I go out there and I do what I love.
mhm,
And I think a big thing that's really helped me with nerves
mhm,
is that throughout high school, I was in the theater, right? So I've been able to be on stages with scripts and things and be able to get over the memorization part
mhm,
for so many times that it's easier for me now to be able to go out there in front of groups of people and do shows of all kinds.
mhm.
Um, I was in a good high school where we had a very huge theater. So when we did theater shows, there was several people in the audience. And it really did help me to gain that confidence of, okay, this is something that I absolutely love. I love being in front of people. I love to share my messages and I just love what I do. So if I told you no to getting nervous, it would be a lie because everybody gets nervous.
Yeah.
But I definitely have worked on those things, and you just kind of, as long as you keep doing it, you kind of get over it a little bit, but you never fully get over it. You'll always be a little nervous
Yeah.
walking out onto that stage.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing. So, what are some key takeaways that you want my audience to get from this episode?
So I just want you guys to all remember to always go after your dreams, keep fighting for what you love, and remember to stay you and just keep being the amazing people you are. And
Mhm.
remember, be you, be yourself. Never be a setting on the dryer because nobody likes somebody. That's just normal.
Yeah, yeah. I have two questions for you. The first one is, what is the meaning of life for you?
The meaning of life is to keep fighting for what I love and keep inspiring others to do better and
Mhm,
keep having others go after their dreams because when I see others successful, I'm happy that I'm the one that was able to help them get there.
mhm, mhm. Wow, I love this conversation. It was fun. Tell me where my listeners can find you and support your work and maybe watch you perform.
So I am all over social media. You can find me on Facebook,
Mhm.
Instagram, and TikTok, all at the official underscore Myster E, spelled Myster and then E. And then I'm on a newer platform called Clapper. It's called the Clapper app. And if you look for it in the App Store, it's an orange thumbs up and thumbs down logo. I have over 185,000 followers on there. I'm blue checks verified with that, and I am a mystery, just mystery on there because I was able to get onto that platform before they were able to find before any other mysteries.
Yeah,
So that was really cool.
yeah.
But I'm all over social media, and you can also check out my website at www.officialmystery.com.
Oh, I love the official part. I had to put that on my YouTube. That's yeah, yeah, that's how people have to do it these days, you know?
Yep,
Yeah, that's so
that's
cool.
all we have to be known.
The one and only Mr. E.
That's
You
right.
have you heard of another Mr. E or just you?
I've not heard of another mystery, just other fake accounts, stuff like
Yeah,
that here and there.
yeah.
And then if you look up mystery on Google, you'll see the Vegas show actually shows up. So
Oh.
I'm like right underneath the Vegas show, but
Yeah.
I'm still there.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for sharing your passion, your heart, and story with us.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.